Greetings, Earthlings, and welcome back for another exciting episode of Bumping and Thumping, your indie spotlight featuring everything about for independent wrestling from around the world. Join with me is an amazing in-ring psychologist. He is ISSA certified. He is a modern-day stoic. He's a wrestler and an in-ring agent. When we come right back, we will get into everything that is the Alpha, Chris Moore. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Jay Aubrey Jackson, the $50 computer virus guy in Metro Detroit. We are the home of the true flat $50 computer repair. $50 job no matter how long it takes. Never a penny more. Netbooks, laptops, desktop towers, all-in-one computers, phones, iPhones, tablets, iPads, and game systems. Free diagnosis and money-back guarantee. If we don't fix it, you pay nothing. And we do same-day service within 24 hours of drop-off. And are open 7 days a week, so come to the computer virus guy now.
Thumping, your podcast featuring everything about for independent wrestling from around the world. Today is one of probably the greatest guests we could possibly find. One of the greatest friends I've ever made in independent wrestling, the Alpha Chris Moore. Chris, how are you feeling? You look fantastic. Hopefully your feeling is equally fantastic.
Annie, I'm good. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. Today I'm doing great, just like any other day. Feeling better, getting better. So,
awesome.
Yeah, no complaints. How are you?
I'm amazing. I have this awesome opportunity to talk with incredible people like yourself. So you're currently out of in-ring action.
Correct.
What happened, if you'd like to share, and how are you healing up?
So back in February, I was wrestling a tag team match with Jamal King. And we were going for our tag team finish, which is a tandem splash. And I fell off shoulders and landed on the back of the head, which caused every disc in my spine to hurt. So it's been a long road.
Right.
Thankfully, I have no pain, no numbness, no tingling anymore. And I've now been cleared to start working out again.
And I've known you for a very long time, and one of your passions is being in the gym. How has that relationship with you in the gym helped you through probably a very disappointing experience?
It's been weird because up until literally this week, I hadn't been able to work out outside of physical therapy. So 4 months of nothing, like to go from being very active to you just go home, maybe stretch if you can, ride the bike, and so it's been more mental discipline than a physical discipline.
Sure. And in the intro, I billed you as a modern day stoic. And what have you learned in all of your research that really helps you drive through this being temporarily out of the ring?
That I've learned two things. One, my mind is the one thing that creates an unbearable situation. So with that being said, there's nothing I can't bear as long as my mind does not create the fact that I can't bear it.
Right.
So it's like, if I can't wrestle for now, does it suck? Absolutely, what I love to do. Same thing with working out, but it's like, I didn't die. So let's keep that in perspective.
Sure.
Yeah. And not to put, I mean, so I know this is me, but you were there, so you can attest. You saw the fall. It wasn't a pretty sight from what I was told. No. I didn't think it was that bad, and everyone's like, "Dude, how are you like alive?"
It was terrifying. It was honestly, I mean, obviously you were the one who endured the incidents, but watching and feeling completely helpless while a friend is hurt is something I'll never forget. That and you've overcome a lot in your wrestling tenure. Like, you've overcome surgery, you've overcome the highs of the highs and the lows of the lows. But that was, and especially being there while it like it happened, it was so surreal because it's like, is this reality? Is did Chris actually did that actually happen? Um and it was like the weirdest cutscene like you would expect in a movie, but it's real life.
Yeah. And like the funny part about it,
Yeah.
if there is a funny part, professional to the end, I fall off of Jamal's shoulders. Jamal runs over to me. He's like, dude, what happens? Like, don't worry about me. Pin him. We got this one.
Right. Oh my gosh. And that's just a testament to your mindset because even though this traumatic thing just happened, you're still thinking about wrestling. You're
Yeah. I'm
still
like,
thinking about
go ahead. I was like, yeah, I'm in the moment. Like, we have this
right,
one, like, pin him. You know, I in my mind I thought like, okay, I'll just jump right back up and
right.
I'll be fine. And then when um I believe it was Gary was our ref, and when Gary like raised our hands and I tried to just jump up and be fine, I was like, I'm not okay. I got out of the ring very gingerly, and like when when the adrenaline started to come down, the pain started to kick in, it's like from the neck down to pins and needles.
So what has your physical rehab process been like?
So I went back to the physical therapy specialist, Matthew Pierce at Corewell Health Farmington, because he helped me with my
Mhm.
knee injury last year. Um, Another little side note, funny thing is when he saw me, he's like, "So did we have another work accident?" Because he knows what I do, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, we did." But he's been teaching me a lot of things,
Yeah.
more so core stability, core bracing.
Mhm.
Um, and he said like, regardless of any of your lifts, your strongest part of your body should be your core. So that's something I've been able to adapt more into my training. It's been something I've been able to really get stronger at.
Yeah.
And it's as things were going on, it like first few weeks, it was grueling just because those muscles we don't really think about.
Right.
And now, like with training clients or training my friends, especially, friends like yourself who do combat sports, it it makes so much sense now as to why our core needs to be our strongest part,
Right.
especially growing another human body. So after the 8 weeks, it's been a lot better. And like I said, I'm now able to have a different tool, not just in my training game, but in my wrestling game. Where it's like,
Right.
okay, I was strong, but now I'm even stronger.
How did this type of experience shape your mentality up
Mm,
until
in reference to which point? Like,
I mean, what have you learned about you in terms of like resilience? Basically starting back from ground zero and building yourself up to this point where you
there's nothing I can't overcome. I'm alive. By the grace
yeah,
of God, I'm alive and I have a chance. And that's all I need.
right. I mean, once and it's something that you awaken to even more during events like this. Like you really understand like that belief system and the importance of having it really helps you overcome the insurmountable. And that's the person that you've always been ever since I've known you. Like no is not an answer. And I just think that's absolutely fantastic. I mean, obviously you never want to go through an experience, but it's what you learn about yourself at the end of the day because you have a choice. You either give up, you stay in that rut, or you pull yourself out of that what I liken to the pit of despair.
Hmm.
Um, so, can you explain your involvement with King Show at the most recent Chainsaw Show, which was Battleground?
Those are my guys.
Yeah,
Jamal and I, actually, Jamal, Shogun, and I I've known them individually for a decade.
yeah,
So they were a team. Jamal and I were a team. There have been brief points in time where Shogun and I have been a team.
Yeah.
And, you know, I couldn't have been more overjoyed for them
Yeah.
than when they won those tag titles, because I know how much it meant to Jamal when I told him I couldn't wrestle. Like he was upset. Like I had to kind of console him and like, dude, it's all right. Just, keep going. Finish, as Kobe Bryant said, the job's not done. Like, finish the job.
Right.
Um, and Shogun, who's been a valuable friend, like he's been checking on me.
Mm-hmm.
He's always make sure, like, dude, you're good. And even before this, like, he's a friend that will text each other, much how you and I do. We'll text each other like, hey, you all right? You good? How's
Right.
your spirit? How's
Right.
your energy? What's going on? And when I saw them go in and compete with one of the best tag teams over the last 20 years, and
Right.
quite frankly, honestly, one of the future best tag teams over the next 20 years
Yeah.
in, Dunk Club. Um, to see them go in, do their thing, and prove like why they are not just two of the best as individual wrestlers, but one of the best underrated tag teams.
Yeah.
That was great. Why wouldn't I want to go celebrate? You know?
Absolutely. And in that moment, it really felt like kind of almost like a passing of the torch type of vibration. I don't know if that's accurate, but we have to take a break. Our sponsors want to talk as much as we do. So when
Okay.
we come right back, we will unpack everything else, almost everything else that is the Alpha Chris Moore. We'll be right
Okay.
back.
Mosquito-borne diseases or mosquito-borne illnesses are diseases caused by bacteria, viruses, or parasites transmitted by mosquitoes. Nearly 700 million people get a mosquito-borne illness each year, resulting in over 725,000 deaths. If you live near a pond or lake, or you're scheduling an outdoor event, go online or call today for your free consultation.
Welcome back to Bumping and Thumping, your podcast featuring everything about for independent wrestling from around the world. I'm Annie. This is the Alpha Chris Moore. Chris, I feel like we've been on quite the journey so far. You said earlier that have you been in the wrestling game for 10 years now?
11.
11. So, okay, I don't know this intricacy, so I'm going to ask you about it, obviously. Are you at the point in your career where you would be considered a veteran?
Depends on who you ask.
Okay. Well, I'm asking
Um,
you, so.
do I consider myself one? Not really.
Really? Okay.
Um,
Why not?
how can I put this? I think nowadays, especially in independent wrestling, there are a lot of intricacies. People say, well, have you gone places? Well, yeah, I have. Have you ever been on television? Not national television.
Mhm.
Have I been in the ring with some of the best? Yeah. To me, a veteran is someone who has knowledge and wants to make the next generation better and his generation better. But a lot of people take veteran as like a negative stereotype. And
Mm.
I'm just
Mhm.
like, by longevity, am I a veteran? Yeah. Um, would, if you walked up to some of the young guys in the locker room, would they consider me a veteran? Maybe. Um, you know, do some of the people in my generation consider me a veteran? Probably so. So
Mhm.
I think it's depending on who you ask. Me remaining very humble, I wouldn't say I'm not. Um, do I think I know more than some? Yes. Do I know everything there is to know? Well, in this, you never can. My
Mhm.
trainer tells me that when he and I have a talk, like he's been in the business way, way longer than I have. And there have been times he said, dude, I don't even know everything in the business.
Mhm.
And he's one of the smartest people I've ever met when it comes to wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so how has the landscape of pro wrestling changed since you've yeah.
Sorry, Andy. I'm,
You're
I'm
good.
with my
You're good.
um how has it changed since I've been in?
Mhm.
Um it's changed in quite a few different ways.
Mhm.
Um back when I first started, it was still, I guess you would consider it some of the gatekeeping for both
Yeah.
negative and positive. Um,
Mhm.
while I don't agree you should prevent anyone from ever living their dreams, I think sometimes you have to have that hard conversation for somebody in the ring where it's like, hey, this might not be for you. And I know that is earth shattering. I know that sucks to hear. And I don't want to ever tell anyone this, but for the people who are in the business, for the people who are around the business, it's probably best um, for you and for them, for whatever reason might occur.
Mm.
And I think a lot of times we have made it way too easy to get in.
Sure.
And therefore, a lot of the respect that has come with wrestling um, is no longer there. Like there's a guy who's been around. We've been around about equal time. He's been in probably a little longer than I have. I remember years ago he said something where he just couldn't see himself making the sacrifice to go to training at the time, and I got offended at my young age because I'm like, dude, I slept on the floor. I waited tables during the day, went to training at night, and then slept legitimately on the floor. Like I didn't buy a bed, I didn't buy a car, I paid for wrestling, and all I needed every day was the chance to be like, okay, this is what I've always wanted to do. Everything I've ever worked for. That's enough to justify sleeping on floors and not having
Yeah.
cars. Being shortchanged and people walking out on paying tables, and I have to pay for that out of my money. Those are those things. Um, so it's like the easier we make it in certain aspects, I think a lot of people don't understand that being in wrestling or being in anything that
Mhm.
you have to master sacrifice is a privilege. Like
It
we're
is.
not we're not I don't have a right to pro wrestling. No one has a right to pro wrestling. And it is a very cruel business if you think it owes you anything. Because it doesn't. It'll chew you up and it'll spit you out and it'll take on the next few people.
And I feel like the people who enter with that type of energy, they get spit back out almost as quickly as they walk in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's an industry where you constantly need to humble yourself. You constantly need to change your perceptions. I mean, what you don't understand today, you learn in the form of a grumbly veteran that you don't want to hear because you don't like how he's talking to you or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, how I'm like you were talking earlier, like at a younger age, you were less mature than you are. How did you have to change how you relate to things in order to get that knowledge that's going to push you forward?
In a way, I always tried to get the knowledge because another thing was I was very naive. Like I always thought everyone was out to help me. And a lot of people
Yeah.
were. Like
Yeah.
there have been some very, very great guys who helped bring me along in this business. Um, I don't want to take up too more. I was about to say a couple of them, but I listened to the ones who actually wanted to give me knowledge. Even the ones who would like crap on me, there
Mhm.
was still a nugget of truth in there, and I would at least try to make it applicable. And if it didn't work, I wouldn't do it anymore. You know, and the through the ups and downs of that, I learned about the authenticity of self because
Mm.
the fans can understand when I'm trying to portray something I've not, nor have I ever been. And and to go back to another saying from my trainer, he always said, "Don't be a character, have character,"
Right.
and that
See,
was very
that's
eye
why I
opening.
put you as the modern day stoic because it's present. It's you just are this way through practice and practice and practice. And I just absolutely love that about you, Chris. Like you
Thank
are the embodiment of resilience. Like you are the personification of no is never the answer. And even though like you are currently um out of in-ring performing right now, you are still a part of it.
you.
You you are just present in a different way. Oh, and that brings me to you being an awesome in-ring psychologist and an agent. How how are you're still present in the wrestling business right now?
Yeah.
So, what is it like being an agent, and how did that come to be for you?
Um, it was fun. It was very fun
Yeah.
so far. The first way it happened was at City Championship Wrestling back in March.
Yeah.
The promoter there, I was supposed to wrestle that night. Of course, with a neck injury, can't wrestle. He called me off because I was like, I think I might be able to go. And he's like, you're not doing this. You're not.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but he was like, I could use your help in another way. And I was like, okay, what's that? He's like, can you help agent some of the young guys? And I was like, oh, sure, this will be fun. Um, and I don't like to be that person who's very, very like, I'm putting all my ingredients in your pot. Here's this, do what you do, because it can't be a Chris Moore match. It has to be like, if it's Annie, it has to be Annie's match. If it's this person, it has to be that person's match. It still has to be you. I'm just here to tell you whether or not something is completely and utterly stupid. And considering I'm sitting here, considering I did something that my instinct should have told me not to do, and I'm sitting here with a neck injury, unless you want to be sitting on the bench here next to me, like, this is let me let you navigate that.
Yeah.
But the promoter then and New Edge, I told him, I was like, hey bro, like, I had fun. Would you mind if I come and did this? And he's like, absolutely. And he's one of my best friends also. So I've been doing it there. And it's been a very, very fun experience. I've told some of the guys who were vets ahead of me, I was like, nah, I get to be you guys, where I get to yell at all the young guys when they do dumb stuff. And that's not what it's about, but sometimes it's just that moment of like, oh man, we're here. I'm at the same position you guys were.
Right.
But it's been cool. It's actually been sharpening my mind, giving me more ideas for things that I want to do when I come back.
Right.
And for the people who I have helped in this role, I hope I've actually been a help to them and not just, another guy who's been around for a while telling them what to do.
Chris, everything that you learn through your experience, you also pass that on to others who could benefit from that. And like, I'm a big believer in rising tides lift all boats. And in our community, giving back is what's going to push everyone forward. But we will get more into that after our break, because our sponsors want to talk, because that's why we're here. All right, we'll be right back.
At the corner of Washtenaw Golfside in Ypsilanti, where everyone comes to play.
Everyone to Bumping and Thumping, your podcast featuring everything about for independent wrestling from around the world. I know this entire episode has been leaving you on the edge of your seat because it's Chris Moore. He's Alpha. Obviously, he's the I'm going to make my own word, or if it's a word, I don't know, an exemplification of Alpha. He is. I don't care. I'm right. You're wrong. This is Alpha Chris Moore. Chris, this has been amazing. We've had highs and we've had lows. And I touched on in the intro that you've achieved your ISSA certification. For those who are unaware, what kind of certification is that and how do you use it?
I am currently a certified personal trainer and a certified nutritionist. For my day-to-day, I use it to help a lot of my clients that I train. I use it to help some of the customers that come into my store at GNC in Southfield. And I'm actually working on my third certification as a strength and conditioning.
That's amazing. Like, you're just so passionate, and I love that your passions allow you to earn a living, because when it's does it feel like work? I'm sure it's work, but does it feel like work?
In a way, it
Mhm.
does, but in a way, it doesn't. I
Yeah.
get to wake up and talk about working out and talk about exercise. Like I've always been an active kid.
Yeah.
Granted, I've always been a little bigger, stockier because I didn't know proper nutrition until probably about like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But I've always loved being active and being fit and being like just moving around and having fun and pushing yourself, seeing like even in the midst of frustration, like how great you can become. And
Yeah.
when I get to talk to clients or I get to talk to customers about like, hey, this is working out, this does that, like that is so much fun. And it helps me, of course, become a better wrestler because I'm learning my body. I'm learning,
Mhm.
different muscles. So it also helps me learn different holds that I can put on people. Um,
Yeah.
and it's just honestly, I'm one of those people where the gym isn't my personality, but it's something where you can see, like, okay, yeah, he loves that. You
Sure.
leave me in a gym all day, that'd be happy.
Oh my god. I really do feel like there's a difference between career versus vocation. Career is, something you go to school for to make you money. But are you passionate about it? Like I feel like your vocation is taking your life purpose, what you love in life, and turning it into a way to be of service to people. I feel like that's a vocation. And if it brings you money, I feel like that's an even deeper benefit. Would you say that this is your vocation?
Yeah, I like I vastly, vastly enjoy what I do. I
Mhm.
know there are other industries I could go in to make way more money, but it's not about that. I enjoy, like, if I could give a little backstory, one of my clients last year, Lance, he came in to my store and he was a bigger dude. He was about 300 pounds. Um, was just trying to figure stuff out, trying to change his life around, started working out with his brother. And about 3 weeks ago, he sent me a picture. He's down to 236. Um, he still thinks he's big, and I'm like, dude, you got muscle. Like his transformation has been so freaking amazing that I'm proud of him. And that's what I do it for. Like, I don't care at the end of the day how much money I make. Like, yeah, we all want to be financially independent. Um, but that's a whole other story. But it's like I do this to see people become the best versions of themselves. I do this to be the best version of myself. And I do it for a person in a way that I was never able to save. And if I can help other people's loved ones to be the best version of themselves, happier, healthy, then that's what it's about.
Do you think your level of connection when you show up for someone like Lance, do you think it would be different if you haven't lived that experience yourself?
Potentially, I think I
Yeah.
would be one of the guys that kind of always goes to the gym,
Yeah.
but I probably wouldn't be as in depth with a lot of my customers as I am.
Right.
Uh, or a lot of my like not patients, but clients. Stress. Because I'm very big on like when I started working out with my uncle, we went to an old school powerlifting, and it was very much a community. Like it was a brother and a sisterhood. We could all talk to one another. We could all, we're there to work, but afterwards we can laugh, we can have fun.
Mhm. Right.
It was just a family, and that's one of the things where I feel like fitness should be. That's what I feel like wrestling should be. Where it's like you have fun. You don't like
Yeah.
everyone in your family. You're not gonna like everyone in the gym or in the ring, but you're there to be better.
Yeah. And I just want to inform all of our viewers that Chris Moore was also present in my injury. Chris wrote the workout regimen I used in conjunction with my physical therapist because um, Chris had the knowledge and he was willing to help me in my moment of time. And because of Chris Moore, I am an even more dedicated athlete. I am even more dedicated in my drive. And without you, Chris, without your knowledge and your experience, I don't know, I wouldn't have been in. You helped provide that drive back to getting into the love of my life, which is jiu-jitsu. And it's just an honor that we've come so far. And before we break, are you currently accepting any new clients?
Yes, I am. Accepting clients online. In person kind of varies right now just because I have a lot of things going on with my schedule, but definitely always accepting new clients. I'm always open to just talking. If you just need advice, like if you're at a sticking point and you don't know what it is, or you just need that advice, or you just need someone to say, like, dude, keep going, or homegirl, keep going, like, let's go. I'm all like, definitely reach out.
Awesome. Chris, thank you for your dedication and your level of service to other people around you. After this, we'll be right back.
The secret to building passive income and generating wealth in real estate is having access to capital to buy those great deals when they come along. One thing most real estate moguls have going for them is knowing how to utilize private funding and where to find it. For those that don't, there's tsquarelending.com. We provide real estate investors of all levels and experience with the means to acquire the funding they need to purchase and renovate, purchase and hold, or refinance properties that they currently own. How? By connecting them with private lenders that base their approval on the appraisal value of the property only, not a credit score. Our lenders feature interest-only loans, approval for a loan in 24 hours or less, no debt-to-income ratios, refi properties after only 60 days of seasoning. Don't delay. Call today. 877-49-LOANS, 877-495-6267, or visit us on the web, www.t-squarelending.com.
Welcome back, everyone. Bumping and Thumping, your podcast featuring everything about for independent wrestling from around the world. I'm Annie. This is Chris Moore. Chris, we've come on such a journey in such a short amount of time. I mean, time is relative. It speeds by when you have a lot of fun. So before we get out of here, I want to know one practical tip that you can give to the new generation of incoming wrestlers who just got out of training.
It's funny. I was just yelling this at the last show. If I had to give anything to the next generation of wrestlers, or even the current generation of wrestlers, is take the business seriously. Don't take it personal. Not everyone is hating on you. And don't always listen to your worst things because you want to go viral. Or else sometimes you end up with a neck injury.
Such a poignant tip and just a manner of phrases. Wow. So where can fans connect with you, and how can clients reach out to you?
So fans can reach me at More Than Official 28 on Instagram. Anything for link trees for merch is in the bio. Similarly, clients can reach me there as well, just because that is one of the apps that I'm more open on with any and everyone. They can also reach me at 248-242-2457, as well as More Than Official 28 at gmail.com.
Awesome. Chris, thank you for your time. This has been amazing. And good luck to you through all of your physical therapy and you getting back in the gym, because your in-ring return is inevitable. And I feel for the next opponent who stands across from you, because it's going to feel a lot like letting the bull out of the pen. And I can't wait.
Yeah, 2025 will be a good year for sure.
All right, everyone. I'm Annie. This has been the Alpha Chris Moore, and we've reached the conclusion of another episode of Bumping and Thumping, your podcast featuring everything about for independent wrestling from around the world. We'll catch you next time.
violent content. Parental discretion is advised.